Assistant Chief Constable Chris Sykes of Greater Manchester Police has just confirmed that Alex spoke on a video call with his grandmother last night. We will bring you the latest on this as it develops.
Well, meanwhile, the huge search operation for a missing mother in Norwich has entered its second week.
Gaynor Lord went missing near the River Wensum in Norwich at around 2:35 last Friday, prompting a huge search by police divers, fire crews and Coast Guard. We're joined live from Norwich by our national reporter Theo Chikomba. Theo, the search must be getting more and more desperate now, but officers continue to focus, don't they, on the river?
Yes, of course. Well, yesterday, Chief Superintendent Dave Buckley from Norfolk Police did confirm that they're going to be continuing their searches here indeed this morning. Just over my left shoulder, actually, you can see some specialist dive team officers who are going back into the water. They've just been coming into this area, bringing all their gear and heading back out into the water. The search does continue on land and in the water, and we're likely to see some of those dive team members go back in again to search every single part of this river. They're using sonar technology and they're wanting just to rule out just in case they have missed anything. They haven't said at the moment if they're going to go any further out of this area, but they are saying this area in particular, where some of her items were found last week, is particularly of interest. Now, they confirm that 60 officers are working on this case, and that includes specialists from Lincolnshire Police as well, who've been working with them throughout this week. But of course, for the family and friends of Gaynor Lord, will be hoping that they can get some answers from the police. And the police are also appealing to anybody who might have any information, might have seen her. We've seen those CCTV footage images which have been released throughout this week. Latest ones yesterday showing her last whereabouts on St Augustine's Street in Norwich at around 4 o'clock last week, Friday. But of course, the investigation continues here for the time being.
When you've been speaking to local people there, how are they feeling? Of course, the family of Gaynor Lord is at the forefront of our mind right now. You can only imagine what they're going through. But for local people as well, we can see activity there on the water behind you. Obviously, a very heavy police operation there. It must be very distressing for local people who'll be trying to rack their brains as to whether they saw or heard anything this time last week.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I spoke to someone who lives just across the road from here this morning, just asking what's the latest update, saying we're obviously deeply concerned and we're hoping that the police can find something that can help the family to understand what has happened. No doubt everyone in this area who can see this operation, because this park is completely closed, it's quite obvious that there is an investigation taking place here. But of course, the police are wanting to search every single area here. You can see some of them are going through the bushes and just to rule out if they've missed out anything. But of course, their search continues here.
Theo Chikomba talking to us from Norwich. Thank you very much for bringing us the latest. We're joined in the studio now by the former Detective Chief Inspector Mike Neville. Good morning, I should say to you, Mike. This does have, you can't help but think back to the terrible tragedy of Nicola Bulley.
Exactly.
From earlier in the year. And we know that police in Norwich are speaking to their counterparts in the northwest about this. They're looking at the river. It will take a long time, though, won't it, to conduct that search?
People don't understand how difficult it is, actually difficult and dangerous for those police divers. I mean, they can just about see the hand in front of their face. Now, I don't know how deep this river is. It's got a fast flow. As we saw with Nicola Bulley, an enormous effort was made to search the river. 3 or 4 years ago, a guy called Anthony Knott went missing, a fireman in Tunbridge Wells, and with both of those cases, it took 3 weeks for the body to emerge itself rather than anybody find it. So those divers are doing, as I say, a difficult and dangerous job. And they'll be in that river, it's almost like a fingertip search in the water. And, of course, it's not just the bottom, because things get caught up on reeds and things that are underneath the river. So that's very difficult. So that's one area of search. But, of course, they'll be searching the park, as we said, for any other clues. But also, we can only hope that she's still alive. So they'll be doing things like digital searches on. We've seen all the CCTV work seems to have been done very well by Norfolk Police. And then they'll be looking at computers, phones, trying to trace any activity, because, of course, in this world, we live in a very digital world where you can be traced in that manner as well.
And Norfolk Police, they will want to have learnt lessons, won't they, from the Nicola Bulley case? I mean, we saw the worst of people, really, at that time when we saw all the armchair detectives come out. Many of them actually go to the scene themselves, and the police did have to speak at press conferences about tampering with potential evidence. What we're seeing here, the police trying to practice some sort of restraint by not giving perhaps too much away.
Yes, what the big failing in Lancashire was, of course, what the big criticism was about how they handled the press. You know, they gave away... at the start, they set a false narrative, you know, she's just Mrs Average, nothing's happened. And then things started to come out that the police had been to the house, which started people pointing fingers at the husband when he was nothing to do with anything like that. And then it came out about some medical information. And then, rather than saying nothing, they started telling us everything about her, which was unnecessary. So the Norfolk police seem to have... they've learned that lesson, no doubt, and they're giving the press up-to-date information all the time, because you know as well as I do, if there's a gap, people will fill that void with some conspiracy theory or lunacy, which then doesn't help the family, because as you said in the introduction, that the real people we're thinking of here is the family just before Christmas. A terrible time.
Yeah. What was really interesting in the press conference a couple of days ago was the detective in charge described Gaynor Lord's behaviour as out of character. Where is the line for the police? When would you... Is anybody who goes missing and their behaviour before, would it be deemed as out of character, or does something need to have happened specifically for it to appear strange?
Well, I ran a missing persons unit in Lambeth, so very, very busy. And, of course, you've got the one extreme, you've got kids who are going missing from a children's home every day, so it's not out of character at all. Here you have a lady who seemingly has a good job, she has a family life, and her behaviour isn't erratic. So the fact that she sort of just bunked off work, in essence, left work an hour and a half early, seemingly without speaking to her manager, that seems very odd. And, of course, with this becomes a very critical instance very quickly, because they've found the rings, the mobile, the clothing in the park. So this would flag it up straight away as something that you've got to do as an emergency.
And so difficult in terms of what information they can give to Gaynor's family.
Yes, exactly. They'll be there wanting the most information, and I've no doubt that Norfolk Constabulary have appointed a family liaison officer. There's an officer that they can trust, that they can get information to, and then they can share it in the most delicate manner with the family.
Thinking of them, just as you say, so close to Christmas. Thank you very much, Mike Neville, former Detective Chief Inspector and former head of a missing persons unit. Thank you very much.